workshop, so we will be talking a lot, not just my voice, but all of us as much as possible. Now we have a picture here. Tell me, you can go ahead and put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and unmute yourself and talk. What do you see in this picture? It's a discussion, so I'm not going to be the one telling you everything. You have to be talking to me as well. Yes, good morning, Raquel. Yes, a boy running free, yes. Look at his hands. What is in his hand? What is in the boy's hand? Ah, yes, the boy is running with a windmill, and it is powered by the wind. So look at how he's running. Is he running
what do you call
fast
that?
or slow?
Windmill.
Windmill, okay. How is he running? Is it fast or slow? Fast, in order for it to spin. And you'll be hearing the sound as well. So what do you think will happen next? He likes the sound. What do you think will happen next? He will go slower or faster? Ah, he's running fast, and so he'll go faster to hear the sound. So in developing that solid foundation, we are talking to the children and helping them with communication. Next slide. Next slide. So this workshop is geared towards okay, this workshop is geared towards caregivers with youngsters aged 5 to 7. All right. Okay, so now we have another picture here. Tell me something about this picture. So we're still thinking about developing a solid foundation. What do you see in this picture? Go ahead and talk to me now. Okay, the caregiver is playing along with the child. Okay, building blocks. What else do you see? What else do you see? Colorful blocks. Yes, blocks with different colors. So the child will be learning colors. The child can be counting blocks. And notice that precision for that little child to fit those blocks on the right pegs. Okay? Motor coordination skill. Excellent. Very good. So that eye-hand coordination is developing. And notice that the caregiver is on the level of the child. So sometimes we have to get on that level. They can make the eye contact and they know that you're listening to them. I can talk to you. So we are encouraging communication. Next slide. So some words of inspirational words and inspirational quote here. As you go through this presentation, whatever task you undertake, do it with all your heart and soul. We can easily manage if we take with each day the burden appointed to it. Expect victory and you make victory. So you'll be determined to be helping your youngsters to achieve different tasks. And I want you to have great expectations. And it says, expect victory and you make victory. Next slide. So, attendees, for this session, you'll be more aware of literacy and numeracy benchmark so as to monitor your child's progress for entering grade 1. You'll be making decisions too concerning your child's levels of achievement. Because maybe after we go through some of the skills, you may see that your child is not mastering some. You make a list and you do a checkoff to make sure that you know where your child is functioning and what steps you need to take. Also, how to foster meaningful interactions for problem solving and for communication. So we're going to look at A. What are the basic skills that should be in place? And this is a question for all of you. What are the basic skills that should be in place? We have our youngsters going to preschool, kindergarten, and you know some of the activities that they do. What are some of the basic skills that should be in place? Go ahead and put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and speak. No response yet? For this age group, age 5 to 7, okay, alphabet knowledge, very good, yes. What are the other skills that they need to know? Numeracy skills, that means they'll be counting, okay, number concepts, yes. All right, so thank you. I have a list here and you mentioned a few of them. All right, fine motor skills, yes, exactly. All right, so let's look at some that I put on the slide here. They need to know their names, how to spell and how to write their names. We mentioned the letters, uppercase and lowercase, can they match them? Know their age and can show it on their fingers. How old are you? And the child may say 7, but they don't know to show it on the other hand. They can show numbers on one hand, but using both hands, they have difficulty, okay? Know some sight words and can spell a few of them. Know how to write on the lines with proper spacing. Those are some of the skills that they do in the kindergarten. Draw and color shapes and pictures. Know how to count by using their fingers. For example, I asked a child, show me 8 on your fingers. And the child counted properly in sequence, but showed me 10 fingers. Didn't know to stop at 8. So you encourage them to count by rote. From up to 10, they need to have a solid foundation with numbers, sequencing, value, up to 10. If possible to 20, because remember, we are preparing them to enter grade 1. They can read a few sentences because they know some words, okay? They can look at the picture and make up a story. Hold a pencil properly. a lot of children between 7 and 8, and I'm asking them to write, and they're saying, my hand hurts when I write. It shakes when I write. So we help them to hold the pencil properly, okay? They can draw and name basic shapes. Those are essential skills. Can be attentive and sit for at least 15 minutes. Next slide. Okay, so they're good listeners and can communicate. And you saw that when we talk about the second picture, okay? They're learning skills to talk, speak clearly, and pronounce the ending of words. Because sometimes you're talking and you can't hear the ending. They're saying bag, and they're saying ba, book, book. They're not hearing the ending, so we encourage that. They can make predictions. That was when we talk about the first picture. And they look at the first picture. Why do you think the boy would want to run faster? Can make prediction. They know the colors. They can follow instructions, pay attention to details, and know the letter sounds. Very, very important skills. So we want to make sure that our youngsters, age 5 to 7, they have mastered these skills so that when they go in grade 1, they have a solid foundation that the teacher can build other skills on. Okay? Next slide, please. All right, a question for you now. How can you tell if a child is listening attentively? So let me get some responses in the chat. How can you tell if a child is listening attentively? This is our workshop. I want all of you to be talking. They're looking at you, the teacher, while you're talking. Okay, that's one way. Facial expression, very good. By the way, they respond to you. What else? Questions that they also ask, right? That means they're thinking. Wonderful. How about the movements? The squirming in the seat and fidget. What else? You ever notice how some children may do a lot of flapping of the hands? Would you say that child is listening attentively? Would you say that? No response in the chat? No, okay. They could be, all right. Some children may not, okay, maybe. Quite so. And so some children, because they are not giving you the stereotype, sitting down and looking at you, they may get labeled. Body language is very important. The child may not get bored, okay. Okay, wonderful, thank you. So we may look at the children and say they're not listening, but let's see how we can strengthen the listening skills. Get on their levels. Remember that second picture with the caregiver and the child? Do away with the don'ts. Don't look through the window. Don't put your hand there. Don't touch a youngster. And a lot of don't. We need to be saying positive things. Say yes when we see situations that are positive. Oh, you're sitting and looking for 5 minutes? Excellent job. Because maybe this child was running around, but he sat for 5 minutes. He can't do the 15 minutes, but 5, that's excellent job for that child. Right? Shorten your speech. Don't give them a long instructional command. You may just say, now you have a paper with 3 shapes. A circle. What's the next shape? Triangle, because you want to make sure that they know the shape. And a square. Now take up the yellow crayon and circle, put a circle around the square. Can they follow you? Shorten the speech and ensure comprehension. So they're listening and they're carrying out the task. So those are skills that we want to develop in our youngsters. Next slide. All right. So paying attention and listening to others are key pointers that are essential for communication, for learning, and for academic success. So we don't want to label them, but we want to encourage them that they can master these skills because we want them to achieve. We want them to make good levels of success. Right? So, how can we really get those children to listen? Listening involves more than just listening with your ears. You mentioned the thinking. That means they're using the brain, okay? We talk about the movements of hands and feet. So it's not just the air. And Truesdale, a speech pathologist, she says, this involves whole body listening. So it's not just your ears alone, but your eyes. But maybe some children, they can't look closely on the person, but are they listening? Whole body, yeah, very good. Yes, they might be listening, right? Some children can even be looking at you. And they're not listening, they might be daydreaming. So we have to help them to focus. Communication, are they really listening? You ask a question, will they be able to answer that question? Okay? So no one way is best. We are demanding the learners' brains to be tuned in, and our children really want to do well, but everyone is different. So the learning styles matter, right? So you look at the children, you see what they come to school with. We know that they are different. And so you talk to the caregivers. He's not sitting down. What is the problem? And they may say, he still learns. He may move about, but he's listening to you. And so you know that. And so when you're teaching, he may sit for 5 minutes and you don't want that distraction. You may send him, okay, get up and do this and come back to your seat. So you understand that child. So what we take to school is very important, but if we don't know those things we see in our children, we won't be able to help them. We won't be able to be an advocate for them, that they can benefit from the learning experience in the classroom. So a different approach is necessary, okay? And we talk about differentiation of instruction. Not all children will learn the same way. We have to figure out where they need our support, or understanding, and or accommodation. And I'll just share about my daughter. I remember when she was little, she used to sit with her legs on her legs. And so her feet, when she was walking now, the toes are going over each other in her gait. And I had to take her to the specialist, right? So we have to provide support. And so she had to sit with her legs crossed. Didn't have to do the operation, but she sat with her legs crossed, and that straightened her feet. So where they need our support, where they need accommodation, then we get that going. So yes, we are caregivers, but we assume another role of being an advocate for them. Talk to the teacher when they go and say, this is how the child is behaving. This is what the child knows. Of course, the teacher will do her assessment as well. But there are some pointers that you can give that she can consider. Okay, so you fight for your child. Maybe your child, you are aware of the skills that are in place, and going into grade 1 with the 40 children or 30 children in a class, you know the child won't benefit, so we may have to find a special school, or you may have to come to Michael here to get some assessment and get professional help so that you can know what's best for that child. So we help to create reasonable expectations and to prevent others from going unmet, because your child is not like Tom in the classroom. He has special needs. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we come to the second part of our presentation, your child's current levels of achievement. I hope I'm speaking to my caregivers who have these youngsters at home, 5 to 7 years. So you want to tell me now about your child's levels of achievement. What is happening to your child? Where are your children at? So go ahead and put it in the chat for me. This is where we can get some help, that corrective measures that can be put in place so we can share with you how to overcome some of those challenges. We saw the benchmarks earlier, the expectations for children going into grade 1 that they can benefit. Where are your children? What difficulties or challenges your children are facing? Go ahead and share with me. No challenges? They're mastering all those skills to enter grade 1? Okay, yes, cerebral palsy, and so he's way behind. Okay, but what skills has he mastered? Or what skills are you teaching him at home and he's not mastering? You can share those skills with me. Receptive language is mastered to an extent, okay. All right, make note of that. Okay, any other skills that they're not mastering? It's our discussion time. In terms of academic, counting, alphabet, He's not there yet. Okay, alphabet. I'm making notes so we can have that in our discussion. Counting. Any other skills that you want us to talk about now? Go ahead and share, because I want you, when you leave here, you can assess your child to say, okay, he's not mastering this, and so I need to get him to start doing this. How do I start? Where do I start? So now this is the time to put it in the chat and let me see. Any other? Or are your children achieving what you're still at this workshop? Let me know that. All right, so I will start off with the alphabet. All right, so can that person write the names? Can they spell the names? Because sometimes they can spell the names and don't know the letters of the alphabet. All right, so for the person to talk about alphabet, not knowing the letters of the alphabet, we can start off with the child's name. Let's say the child's name is Robert. And so we have that capital R, O, B, E, R, T. So we may get 2 strips of paper, write the names on them. Then on the other one, you cut those letters in strips. Help the child to spell his name by looking at the one that is uncut and match those letters. Then we talk about the letters. R. And what is this letter? O. And you may have other letters about. Can you go and find O over there? So he's learning the letters in his name. Now I chose Robert because there are 2 R's in that. And sometimes the child might just start their names with the lowercase r. And he needs to see that the Robert, the uppercase R begins his name. And so he can make that correction. So you have him paying attention to details, because these things are important for going into grade 1. Okay. Now for Robert, I know that some children, they have B and D problems, B and D reversals. So I may put a D in there just to see what he will do. Will he pick up the D and match it to the B in Robert to spell his name? You know? So you're eliminating that reversal problem with the B and D. So you look out for things like that. If the child is reversing problems, then we may have to get a sheet with a lot of B's and D's and ask them to circle all the B's. Okay? Yes, confusing. Yes. Now you're talking to me. Confusing letter sounds, the G and the G. But then we know that G has 2 sounds. The hard sound and the soft sound. Because I know when I ask them to give me the sound for G, they're saying J, and they want to write the J instead. And they can't remember the hard sound for G. So you have to teach both sounds, but teach the hard sound first, that they can put the letter to that sound. Then you will let them know that G has 2 sounds. And we'll talk about that later. All right? For the counting, because I remember I said to you earlier that they may be able to show the age on the fingers. They may be counting, and because they are not keeping still, 1, 2, 3, and they're all over the place. But even with the movement, you can help them. Go and pick up number 1. So they are jumping. Pick up number 1. They're looking. Pick up number 1. Match the numbers. Pick up 1 object. Then they move on to 2. How many are there? And they say 2 books. Can you show me the number 2 on the card? Can you match it? And so you do things simple. Don't give them up to 10 and expect, okay, you need to get this now. No, if they're at number 1, work with 1. Work with the level they're at. And then you constantly increase. Some children maybe can learn faster. Some, 1 thing for the entire week. You understand? For example, you're teaching them the color. They may have to wear a blue shirt, eat out of a blue plate, drink out of a blue cup, just to learn the color blue. Okay? So you create the environment for them to learn. All right? Receptive language, you read to them, ask them questions. You start with the who question. So you don't read a long passage, a short sentence. Mary is walking. That's a very short sentence. Who is walking? Can they say Mary? Do you have a picture to go with that sentence? And so you can ask them, where is Mary walking to? Can they think? And so you'll have to help them in situation to come up with the correct answers. So it's putting corrective measures in place that will help them to benefit. Next slide. Okay, so we come to the C section of what you should be getting from this session. Fostering meaningful interactions for problem solving and for communication. All right, so we're going to be looking at skills they need to have in place so that we can foster it. How do you foster meaningful interactions? You can use pictures. Okay, here's a picture. So the child may not be able to read it, but you can talk about pictures, right? And so you will read the prompt at the top. First one says, I like that picture. And you ask them, look at those faces. Which face you think would be saying, I like that picture? And you can dramatize. Is it this one? You think should be thinking that way? Or it's, I like that picture. Would she have a smile on her face? Then they would look again. Oh, this one at the bottom. Wonderful. Okay, then you read the next one. This is fun. Ah, which picture, which face is saying this is fun? Can she find it? Okay, let's say she doesn't find that one. So we said, let's go on to another one. That's mine. Ah, who is saying that? Somebody's pointing, that's mine. Oh, it's the boy in the purple shirt. They know the colors. Use up the language. Okay. Oh dear. Look at the face. Who is saying, oh dear? Wow. And who is saying, this is hard? Let's find that one. We need to find that one. Oh, it's that little girl with the puzzle. You cannot see it. Okay, so they're looking at expressions. All right, so but those who are a little more advanced, you could say, okay, for example, when you say, I like that picture, they can go ahead and write on the lines. if they're at that stage. If not, then you can write it in, or you can cut out the words in the same shape and get them to paste it in. So they're doing cutting, pasting, or using up that eye-hand coordination. So a lot of skills will come in place. But you're still working on the language for communication. Okay, next slide. What do you see in this picture? Get them to talk. So you tell me, what do you see in this picture? Go ahead and put it in the chat, please. What do you see in this picture? Let's talk. A family having fun outing together. Okay, wonderful. What else do you see? Any other ideas? What's happening in the picture? Family crossing a river. What do you notice in their hands? Shoes, okay. All right. Why do they have the shoes in their hands? And so you keep asking questions. A lot of those double H questions will come in. Who? Why? Where? Ah, there's a dog swimming. Okay, wonderful. And you get them to talk. They may say, that's their pet. So they're trying to get from one side to the next. And the water is not too deep, right? The baby's on the father's neck. And the water is not too deep because the little girl can manage to wade through the water. Okay? All right, so you get them to talk, ask a lot of questions. All right? And we see that we got family coming out of that. So we can write the word family, and that would be their new word. They may know father, they may know dog and boy and girl, but family, that's a new word. And so you write that word down and teach them that word. All right, next picture. And this picture coming up now has to do with this picture here that we were looking at. So there are specific questions there now. Some may be able to go ahead and do it if they can read. Some said 6, 7-year-old, they can read. So we ask, who is in the water? And you read the 2 prompts to them. Some children and a dog are in the water. A family and their dog are in the water. Which sentence really matches that picture? Is it the first one or the second one? And notice we are now using first and second. So you're introducing them to a lot of language skills, a lot of words. Okay? So they said the second one. So you say, go ahead and shade in that square. Next question. Why do you think they are in the river? Why do you think they're in the river? They're washing themselves. Look at the picture good. They're chasing after their dog. They need to get to the other side. Which one? Is it the first one, the second one, or the third one? The first one. Very good. But notice that I read the last one first. I may be putting in something. Will they be thinking that the first one was they are washing themselves? And so you try to say, let me read it in order. You don't want to confuse them. And so you may go over that one. Okay? What is dad doing? Look at dad. What is he carrying? Dad is carrying the baby. Very good. So I have two prompts. Dad is carrying the dog. Dad is carrying the baby. Which sentence is correct? Is it the first sentence or the second sentence? Go ahead and shade it. So you're moving a little way, giving them leeway now to help themselves and see if they can manage. If they can't manage, then you read again. So they're learning first and second, but you're still focusing on the language skill. Okay, next question says, why do you think dad is doing that? And they may come up with a response. The baby cannot manage to cross alone, not like the brother and the sister. The baby is too little. The baby is, another word for little, small. Okay, so you're giving them language as they go. Some will hold on to it, some will not, but helping them receptive language so that they can talk back to you. So they are hearing and then they'll be able to express themselves. No, miss, the baby is too little. Dad has to carry that baby. Okay? Last question says, why do you think they're carrying their shoes? And we mentioned that before. There are two prompts. They like to feel the mud between their toes when they're crossing. Do you think that is a reason? And so you prompt them. They don't want to get their shoes wet. You think that's a better idea? Ah, very good, very good. And make sure that you reward them when they come up, when they're using their brain to think and coming up with the responses that you want. Cheer them on, encourage them. Have a star wall that you can put something there and say, very good. Now you are doing this, I'll give you a star. Excellent job. Praise them for any improvement that you see, however small. And when you make a big thing out of it, they will want to do it more and more. They may even ask, come and read, reading time. As they hear reading, they'll run and sit because they know rewards are coming, you know? So encourage them, keep them happy. Next slide. Now somebody had mentioned that their youngster, they have difficulty with the alphabet. And so they have to learn to put those letters in sequence. They may be singing the regular ABC song, but still not knowing the letters. And so you may have those letters on a wall somewhere in their room or on a chart. You may not have the space, you have that on a chart. You may not be able to do this puzzle for one particular child. You understand? He can only do 6 letters this week. So you're not going to rush him. You wait until he's ready. All right, so he learns A, B, C, D, E, F, G. He knows those letters. So you ask the child, can you find A on this picture? And they're searching. They don't remember. Do it on a paper and show it to them. A, remember you're looking for A. Won't show me A on the wall. All right, is it the uppercase A or the lowercase A? Lowercase, a small letter. Okay, now come on, let us find it. And you may pick out the D. Is it this one? No, that one has a as a little mark going further up. That's not A. Let me look at it again. You show it to them. They search. Oh, there's A. So that's where you're going to put your pencil. Can you find B? And they're searching, and make it lively. Don't A, B, C. Oh no, that's not going to work for the children. You got to keep them occupied, interest level up, and everything. And so they find B. Mark that dot from A to B. Draw a line. And don't worry if the line's not so straight at the beginning. They're young. But if they can make the line straight, you will encourage them. Okay? And then moving from, what's the next letter? And they look on the chart. C. Can you find C in this puzzle? And they connect the dots. Okay? And you watch your time. If this child can only manage 10 minutes, then you stop it at 10 minutes. Unless the interest level is there and you know that they know the letters, then they can keep going. So you can put the puzzle away another time. The interest is there. They learn some more letters. So you don't want to mix it up. You want them to do it in sequence. Because they say, join the letters in alphabetical order to find the monster pet. Oh, we're going to find a pet. And then you can talk about other pets. Because pet is familiar to them. Okay? So these are meaningful ways to get the communication going. Next slide. Now we have a maze. And I remember when we looked at the second picture, when we just started, with the caregiver on the level of the child, and we mentioned in the chat that eye-hand coordination. Well, this maze is suitable for eye-hand coordination and for staying in the lines. And so you're not going to rush your youngsters and say, let's see how fast we can find that toy. No, we're going to take our time, and we don't want to cross the line, because this, we are strengthening, developing the fine motor skills, eye-hand coordination, and this is suitable for writing. Can they stay within the boundary? Will they cross the line? Can they use their eyes and find where to go next? So you may, for the younger ones who can't do the maze, use a simpler one. Start off with something quite simple. Okay? Next slide. Somebody had mentioned too about counting. Yes, we see words and we will read words, but we will also count. I can add cats. How many cats are there? Can you count them? Touch them and count them. Give them instructions, different ways that they can understand, because you are ensuring comprehension. And so they count 1, 2. And so they won't say 3 cats. They stop at 2. So where they stop, that's the number that they should tell you. How many cats are there? 2. And some just look because they are past that level and they can say, I see 2 cats. They don't even have to count. I can add roses. How many roses do you see? And they look. 1, 2. Show it to me on your fingers. And they show you 2. Show me the number 2. And they take up the card with number 2 on it. Very good. I can add owls. How many owls do you see there? Do you know what an owl is? So they are learning a new word maybe. What color? Brown and blue. Okay, how many brown owls? 2. How many gray ones? 1. How many owls in all? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. Show me the number 3. Wonderful. Very, very good. I can add noses. So some children will be able to read and some will just follow the instructions that you give them and do the counting. Let's count the noses. 1, 2, 3. Can you see any other noses? Can you see any more? Look closely at the picture. The cat has a nose. Very good. Wonderful. So let's count the noses again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wonderful. Okay? So you make the picture to suit the child. You know their levels, bring it down to that. Give them the vocabulary, give them the language. Say to them in different ways that they can understand. Ensure comprehension. Don't forget that. Next picture, please. So remember now, for youngsters, they need cutting, manipulating that scissors. Can they do that? So it's not just about the counting and knowing the words, they have to use that, strengthening those, the larger muscle and the fine muscles. Okay? Can they cut with the scissors? Can they cut on the line? So you give them skills like that. Okay? So then you can draw the square and ask them to cut out the square. That can be one activity for them. Then it says to fold the square in half. And they look at the pattern. Because it's folded, not, look at this, look at the shape. So we are going to get two shapes there. What shape would this part be? Triangle. So you have to turn the paper the correct way to get that shape. Because if they turn it the other way, they'll be getting rectangles. So although they say fold the square in half, they have to pay attention. Attending to details, essential for youngsters. Oh, I can't get it like that. Oh, I turned it wrong. So they may have to get another paper. All right? And they look at how the paper is folded and you help them to crease the paper to make that doggy face. Right? So they're using up their muscles, they're using up their fine motor skills, and they're using their eye-hand coordination to get those folds, those creases in the right place, just similar to the picture, right? So for some, you may start to fold it and ask them to finish it. You know their strength, you know their weaknesses. Don't set the bar too high that they will make a lot of errors. Work with what they have, work with where they are, all right? And then they can complete the puzzle. So it's all about numeracy, literacy, and using up the fine motor skills. You need all of that to be ready for grade 1. Remember, that's what we are focusing on today. Skills that should be in place for grade 1. Next slide. Now we have some reading here. And I can see most of the words are 3-letter words. So they may at this stage where they can read 3-letter words. Or you can have a picture discussion. Right? So we'll do the discussion first. So if you see a picture like this, what would you do? You have somebody who is having challenges with receptive language. How can we help them? What will you say to them? Go ahead and put it in the chat. What one question you can ask a child looking at this picture? Go ahead and write, man. Okay, what do you see in the picture? Okay, and so the child will respond. I see a boy and I see a girl. What else do you see in the picture? I see a pig. And I see a tree. And somebody may say, I see some clouds. Ah, very good. You may ask another question. Give me another question. What color is the pig? Ah, very good. What color is the pig? You answer. They may give you, what color do you think that is? Pink, wonderful. Excellent, Simone. A pink pig. All right. What else you will ask them? Where are they? Can they give you a place? Are they ready for the where question? You're welcome. Can they answer, where are the children? What is the weather like? Excellent. Yes. So they'll be looking at the clouds. Good. On a farm. Exactly. Good. All right. And for those who are still at the coloring, you can ask them about the color of the tree as well. All right. And so you may say to, this is a boy and this is a girl, can you give them a name? And we can name them, names that they're familiar with. If you don't want to give them those that they can't spell, that would be very hard for them. If they're, yes, Pam for the girl. But we could change the name. We don't have to give them the same name because they're just talking. They don't know the story yet. All right, you can ask them to draw a pig. Or for those who may have difficulty drawing, we could draw parts and ask them to put in the eyes and put on that little curly tail, because that's important, the pigs with the curly tail, okay? And we can fix up the snout, put on those two little dots there. Can they do that? And so we say, maybe that pig is a pet. Oh, wonderful. What letter sound do you hear at the beginning of pig? Let's say the word again. Pig, pig. Ah, wonderful. Can you find that letter? And they run and get that letter. So you can make a big thing out of this picture, even before we start to read. Okay? So for those who can read those three-letter words, the CVC words we call them, we start to read. Pam and Kip had a pet pig. Oh. So what is the pet? What is the pig? The pig is a, what is the pig? Go ahead and tell me something about the pig. The pig is a, yes, thank you. The pig is a pet. They call her Peg. Ah, so the pig has a name. Do you have a pet? Yes, my pet is a cat. And you can ask them if their pet has a name. Okay, okay, they can say no too. Wonderful. So you got to use what they give you. You can't just assume. Okay, wonderful. All right, so let's continue to read now. Peg is small, but she's smart, said Pam. Sit, Peg, called Pam. She did it, yelled Kip. Oh, wonderful. So, tell me 2 things about Peg. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Tell me 2 things about Peg. Peg is? Ah, wonderful. Peg is small and Peg is smart. And so they're learning 2 more words. Remember I said they're at the CVC level. You understand? And so Peg is small and Peg is smart. So now we're introducing them to blends even before they were ready, according to how they structure teaching of the phonics. But the child is ready. So if the child is ready, what do? Wait until they reach that lesson? No, give it to them if they're ready. I remember when my daughter was age 5, ready for grade 2. But I said, no, you need to stay with those little 6-year-olds. And so I didn't push the maths. She was ready for renaming. I said, no, I'm not going to teach it to you. So she mastered whatever they were doing at the grade 1 level. And she did a lot of repetition because she had passed that stage. But she's a good math student. But I'm not going to push them unless they are ready for it. But when she has the whole of grade 1 to go, and then grade 2, then she would be doing nothing more in math. You understand? So know when they're ready, know when they can move on. So what we discuss, I hope we have a list of them so you can know, okay, my child is not at this level. This is what I'm going to do today. Break it down in chunks, small parts for them, step by step. And when they achieve it, tick it off. You achieve this, you can do it. And you do several of those things. Put a star on the wall, reward them, high five, elbows. We're in COVID time, a lot of elbows going on. Okay? All right, so we can move on from this picture now. Next slide.
All right, everyone, just give me 1 moment. I'm going to load a video for you to look at. Give me 1 second.
Are you hearing? No sound. We may have to start again. All right. This is another one that we can use for the letters also. See it, say it, and some children are more advanced, they can sign it. So they'll see the letters and they'll say the letter sounds. and they sign the letters a little more than just the A, B, C. You understand me? So some children, they may want something more, okay? And there you have the whole word there coming up too. Because some children are letter, word association, and sometimes you may ask them, for example, we see the baby there and they see the B. B is for baby, and they're not saying B, and they're not giving it the B sound. So we have to just work with the children and correct and improve on what they need to know. Right? D is for dog, D is for Daisy. E, 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 and E is for egg. Ah, and they give you the long sound there for eagle. So you're not getting the E right there for that. Then you have F. F is for fish. F is for fan. And they're saying the sound. All right, so we're going to stop here for this video. All right, so usually when I have my young children, my age 6, 7, I like to read them the story, okay? Because children are different. And here's the duck with 4 eggs there, and she wants the eggs to hatch to see her little ducklings. And out came 3. And the other is taking a long time to hatch. And she's wondering, 1, 2, 3, so where's the 4th one? So she has to go sit on that egg to hatch. So finally, it's gonna hatch, and she's gonna look at it. Oh my, it's different. And of course, children are different. Then they go, and everybody's making, why is she so different? You understand? The duckling felt so sad. The brothers tease them. The ducks in the barn. She feels left out. And sometimes if one child is just jumping up and everybody sitting calmly, we can say, no man, something wrong with this one. And we label them and we put them aside. We have to pull them in, but this duckling was not pulled in, you know? So I always read it just to encourage them to pay attention to others. They may be different, but they're still a part of the group. Okay? So we work with everyone. All right, I'm so very sorry that you're not hearing the sound. But we're almost to the end of the presentation. Okay. So any comments and or questions at this time before we wrap up? Any questions? Any comments? Go ahead and put it in the chat, please. Your thoughts, your questions. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Hey. Presentation was informative, very good. Okay. Very informative session. Any question? I'm happy that you all came. All right, so just some more encouragement here. When you're faced with a problem that overwhelms you, break it down into smaller and more manageable parts so you can effectively focus on each of them. I'd really like, okay, thank you. All right, so that's what I want for you to do. Don't be overwhelmed and say, I can't manage, he's not learning, he can't get the letters. No, take your time, focus on smaller and more manageable parts, but use the language. Don't hold back the language. Say it in different ways that you can get the concepts right, okay? So you can effectively focus on each of them. And remember to reward the child. Make a big thing out of it. Once he hears that, he'll want to repeat the action. He'll want to hear the story again. He'll want to read. He'll want to count. Because some children, they listen to the reading, but math, no. So bring everything at their level that they can master it. Know where they're at and know where to seek help, that they can get the best accommodation and support to move on. And if you cannot manage, seek assessment, seek some persons that can really guide you. Okay? And we'll assess your children. That's what we're here for. All right? So you get handouts will be sent to your email with added support, books that you can get, and guess what? Just a click and the information there is online. YouTube. So those videos you could not hear, you can go and listen to them. Play them for your children, read to them. There are books that you can touch the words if they don't know the word, and they can hear the words and they'll be able to read along. So a lot of information is out there. So I'm happy that you came. And I hope that those ABC that we mentioned that you should walk away with, that you were able to get enough from the session. Okay, wonderful. All right. So thank you very much for coming. And it was nice having you. My first Zoom. You know, I was a little nervous, but we got through it. So sometimes you may feel a little nervous doing some things. Go ahead and do it. You will overcome. Great expectation. Expect victory and you make victory. Thank you.